and therefore I got to make decisions. I must make decisions now as to what this means. So what do I have to do next? And I kind of look at it and say, look at the pause. When you make that pause and say, let me stop and think. What is driving that pause? And sometimes you're thinking, oh, things are happening around me where I'm living. There's a question about belonging and not belonging, my referencing, reflecting about the life cycle. How old am I now? What's happening to me? How am I finding a sense of value for myself, for my family, for my children, for my spouse? What are all those things? What do they mean to me? And how am I going to make the best of that pause moment? And then you're talking about different kind of issues. The mental state is in flux. There are lots of factors that affecting the well-being, mental health, and overall satisfaction with one's state that one might think, okay, maybe if I draw some strength from this and that, if I get this referencing from this point, it might help me to find my, for example, my self-affirmation, my confidence, my assertion of myself as who I am. One example I use when I'm talking to people in the workplace, for example, and you ask the question, you are doing this job, for example, it could be a mundane job, well paid perhaps, but you ask the question, remember you spent 5 years studying for an engineering degree. How come you are now not an engineer? You're not working on that line. What is the reason for it? And sometimes people make a choice. They say, look, I'm not doing that anymore. But are you happy doing what you're doing now? Or is it just a circumstance that you've accommodated because there's no pressure? So in the same way, when we are in the transition, you live in a foreign country, you hear a lot of news, you see some kind of public policy processes taking place, you're thinking, this is not looking good, and I need to start reflecting on whether there's something I need to do about it.